What is an unwritten law you abide by? Doesn't hurt to go a step further and make small talk or give a small compliment too. Can't say how many times I said hello to an incredibly grumpy person and said goodbye to someone smiling and enjoying themselves a couple minutes later. You never know who is it that needs to hear something good or just normal and distracting on that day, and a small gesture often goes a long way. Of course, you will also find people in a bad mood or who just aren't interested in talking to the nth customer that day, but in that case you just back down into minimum politeness. Doesn't hurt to try. Of course, I'm saying this as a man. I'm not sure if being a little bit nicer as a woman to random people would result in awkwardness, misunderstandings of your intention, possibly catch a stalker's attention or similar. You'd hope not, but YMMV. Few years back I used to visit this chicken place. It was always clean, employees always respectful and did a great job. One day I saw the manager walking around checking tables. Me being me, I walked up and asked if he was the manager. I could tell from his body language he was bracing for some bullshit. I then go, man, I just gotta tell you, this is the best damn chicken place I've ever been to. It's clean, food is always on point. You're doing a great damn job. The look on his face was priceless. I hope I made his day. Place was a shithole before he took over. Not even just for others' sake, but for their sake, too. I worked in a restaurant, and some parents would just let their toddlers and shit wander around while they stayed seated at their table. I remember when I found a 3-4-year-old waddling around a room away from his mom in a packed restaurant and almost lost my mind. I can't tell you how many times my instinct to swoop them up and scold the parent almost took over, but I had to remain professional. I don't mind a little rowdiness, but for the kids' sake, stop being inattentive. My parents would take my brother and I out to restaurants and other places when we were really little, all the way back to before I can even remember, and I just remember waitstaff, concierge, docents, etc. telling my parents we were such well-behaved kids. We tended to get kind of cool extras, like museum people taking us to off-exhibit areas, or restaurants giving us free dessert. Decades later, I became a server. I would straight up tell people when their kids were being really well behaved and pleasant, and try to get them treats and extras. Little me and bro didn't think we were doing anything exceptional. That's just how people are supposed to act in public. My mom never hit us or anything, but we would never have dared to do anything to embarrass her. If you didn't act right, you didn't get to go do cool shit. Full stop. One holiday season, I worked at Old Navy. 90% of my day was probably folded clothes after people left them in heaps all over the goddamn place. The jeans sections were the worst, with people looking for certain sizes and then shoving the rest in the little cubbies. Not even an attempt, they'd just ball it up and shove it in there. Often this meant having to take all the jeans out and fold them all, since you'd try to pull the unfolded jeans out, and they'd pull the perfectly folded ones out with them. It was easier to start all over. Bonus: I'm really good at folding clothes now. However, I'm so good at it that I cringe whenever I let my husband fold laundry since he doesn't do it correctly. I appreciate his help, but I sometimes have to refold his clothes for my sanity. Lol. This was kind of a big thing in the military. There's this presence of the idea that we're all best friends and brothers and sisters and inseparable and will die for everyone around us. I literally can't count the number of guys I'd see hit the pier overseas and take their rings off then head into town. Same guys would blow all their money, then come back to the ship asking for loans. We're boys, right? ? No dude. Your own wife can't trust you. I don't believe a fucking thing you say. Oh man, this reminds me of an argument I have with my dad all the time. He is often put into a management position to oversee other people, but they don't pay him for the extra work and he still has to do his actual job as well. He complains all the time about how lazy his workers are and how they don't care and how they get paid way too much. They don't listen to me, blah 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 kind of shit. I keep telling him, They don't pay you to be supervisor, so it's not your problem. You aren't supervisor and don't have the authority that comes with the position and pay, and there are no consequences to ignoring you, so of course they will ignore you. They are only going to do what they feel they are being paid to do. He needs to complain about his pay, not his co-workers' pay. If his company wants him to do the work, they need to pay him, but he is a boomer and has that loyalty to the company at all costs mentality. Meanwhile, every single mistake gets laid on my dad, and more work. Sorry for the rant, it's just like so obvious. Want me to care? Pay me to care. That's how I see it. I don't owe a company jack shit. They pay me a fraction of the amount I make for them. That's the deal we made. Adding on to this, it's perfectly fine if you start a new job and the first day or two is stressful. You're not going to get it the first day, even if you have all the knowledge in the world. Most jobs usually give you a certain grace period, and they probably won't fire you unless you really fuck up. My rule is if it doesn't get better after 2 weeks or you think you bit off more than you could chew, it's usually fine to quit. I only bring this up because when I was in elementary school, our teachers would constantly try and scare us like they're only gonna show you how to do it once, and if you mess up, they'll fire you. I've never had a job where this was the case. If you legitimately don't get it and ask for help, most bosses aren't gonna care. Richtstehen, Linksjagen, which is the German term for our unwritten rule that when you use an escalator, you use the right side if you want to just stand around and take a chilled ride, and that you use the left side if you're in a hurry and want to speed up the ride by additionally walking up/downwards. They tried to officially abolish it in Munich, but we aren't having it. We Germans love our escalator rules. Same. However, the flip side is don't talk about group activities in front of people who aren't invited. Obviously, there is a difference between something coming up briefly and discussing it at length. I'll see you at the show next week. Is different from I can't wait to go to the show next week. What are you wearing? The second one is rude to do in front of people who aren't invited. I check on people's homes while they are away for extended periods. My unwritten law is that I must be above reproach. I would never snoop around someone's place, look in their dresser drawers, help myself to a beer in their fridge. Nothing. They are trusting me with their most valuable and potentially emotional asset. I can't ruin that trust. Once your reputation is shit, it remains shit. This is actually a big one when you live on a college campus. You don't realize how much boundary crossing happens because either your roommate doesn't realize it or they don't give a shit. I had a roommate who would always go through my drawers and steal my stuff. It was to the point where I had to hide my belongings from her. I wish more people believed this, but in my experience it is the biggest person who gets the armrest. I get the idea. The bigger you are, the less you fit into the little airplane seat, and the more you will be inclined to spill over into another person's space. But as a person on the smaller side, it would sure be nice if I actually got an armrest once in a while. That doesn't happen much where I'm from in California. I use reverse psychology instead. Put my blinker on so they speed up and then I can move over. However, I love using thank you waves to encourage kind road behavior, like someone waving me to turn first, go first at a stop sign, or even flashing their high beams to warn of a cop up ahead. Those people are the best. Never let them take you to a second location. Handy for when you're being kidnapped, but personally I apply it to all my nights out. Don't kick on to the club/city/casino when the pub is shutting. Just go home. Nothing good happens. Of course sometimes you're looking for a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad time, in which case you should absolutely go to the second/third/fourth locations. One of my favorite articles was something like the pitch for punctuality, but unfortunately seems like it was deleted from the site it was on. The main point was that when it comes down to it, time is all we have and it is our most valuable asset. To waste another human's time is not only disrespectful, it's demeaning and says my time on this earth is of more value than yours. It's a great article. This really bothers me. I manage an auto shop and run an extremely tight ship, tons of jobs, not enough employees, etc., and so being punctual is critical so that everyone gets their cars back on time. You wouldn't believe how many people nonchalantly walk in like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes late. No apology, no care in the world. They don't understand that if everyone is 30 minutes late, that backs up work significantly. But if we are 23 seconds late beyond the estimated deadline, they are calling and complaining. There's one unwritten law that I wish everyone on social media would abide by. When there's even the smallest chance that the eyes of the world will be upon you, make your very best effort to entertain, inform, educate, or inspire, and always offer the highest quality of which you are capable. Write well, post only your own original content, attempt to add something unique to the world, and absolutely never substitute evidence-backed facts with speculation. If you're unwilling or unable to contribute in that way, and with that level of quality, feel free to consume. But consumption should be done in silence. After all, nobody likes it when you chew with your mouth open. Correct your mistakes, regardless of how seemingly inconsequential they might be, as soon as you become aware of them, and try your hardest to avoid repeating those mistakes in the future. If you are unable to correct a mistake, accept responsibility for it nonetheless. Above all, learn from it. In short, the unwritten law is as follows. If you can't contribute, improve yourself until you can. Until then, don't make it harder for others to contribute. Wrong. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, you might find a quality person the company has already screened for you, like I did, and I married mine after 9 years. Together a total of 14. Don't date a coworker unless you know for sure it is okay in your company's culture and there are other dating couples at work. Don't randomly hook up with coworkers as they will talk. Be sure you both want the same things and can face each other at work. 2. Be okay with losing your job over your relationship if someone finds out. Only date someone on the same power level that you are. No manager/employee stuff. I made the decision pretty early on in life that if I saw genuine injustice I would step in. If I hear a cry for help I will go. If I see a fire I will help. If I see someone fall and hurt themselves I will stop. You could just end up getting yourself into trouble, hurt, or getting sued, etc. Fine. I won't turn my back and look the other way. If I get fucked over for trying to do the right thing, then so be it. I'd rather die right than live wrong. I believed the same thing for a very long time until my friend insisted on me going out with her ex. They are still friends and I told her no many times because you do not date friends' exes. I finally conceded to one date, figuring we'd realize we had nothing in common except her and never speak again. He and I just celebrated 2 years together. Edited to add, I'm fully aware that we are the exception and not the rule. Hate takes your time, your thoughts, your life. It takes spices away from you until it's not worth your energy. A lot of people think you lose when you hate someone, but in reality, you only lose when you don't have a plan to hurt them. Ask for consent before touching somebody, always, and to everybody. Need to use the restroom at a show? Is it okay if I squeeze past you into the aisle? Now at least you are politely inconvenient. Seeing a friend at the grocery store you haven't heard from in a while. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. Jim Bob, can I shake your hand? You have made Jim Bob feel valued, and he respects your respect of his personal space, especially in a pandemic. Changing your infant or toddler's diaper and need to pick them up. May I change your diaper? You're very wet and I'd hate for you to develop a rash. You're helping them to develop early communication skills and imprinting the importance of bodily autonomy during crucial formative development. Your kiddo will grow up expecting consent to be asked of them before being touched, and in return, they will likely ask for consent before touching somebody else. The cycle continues when they have children or assume a care position. All benefit. Basically, respect people and their right to be an autonomous human. It does so much good. Seeing a friend at the grocery store you haven't heard from in a while. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. Jim Bob, can I shake your hand? You have made Jim Bob feel valued, and he respects your respect of his personal space, especially in a pandemic. Not sure if I agree with that one. Shaking someone's hand is already a two-way street. You can't just shake someone's hand if they don't want to. So to me, sticking out your hand is asking to shake their hand. They can still say they're not comfortable with it. Otherwise I agree though. Don't touch someone unless you asked, and that includes hair as well. The amount of times people have touched my hair without asking is insane. I'm a dude with long hair. Do not discuss politics or religion at work, with coworkers outside of work, with anyone you don't want to lose respect for, at family gatherings, specifically with your redneck uncle who has a goddamn American flag, bald eagle mural on the back window of his 22-year-old pickup truck. I used to think you were the fucking coolest uncle ever growing up, but goddamn man, what the fuck? These two topics are so insanely polarizing, and it's such an easy way for you to lose respect for someone, or have them lose respect for you, regardless of who's right or wrong. I had a classmate when I was in 6th grade or so, nothing too remarkable about him, funny guy, kinda nuts. His dad was a regular customer at the cafe I worked at. You could talk with him at length about religion or politics or anything because he was always respectful of others' opinions, but he stood by his own opinions. Loved chatting with the old guy. He had my classmate when he was well in his 40s. I was early 30s when we chatted at the cafe. He sadly passed away about 5 years ago. Miss the old man like he was like family. About a month ago his son asks me why we have closed the cafe. Told him we had several workers who were part of the at-risk population. Some had heart trouble, others were old. And this guy starts telling me, you do know it's all a hoax by the government, right? Right there and then I could see he was nothing like his dad and put a stop to it, telling him, sorry bud, I'm not going there with you. He was quiet for a moment and said fair enough. He hasn't spoken to me in public since. Oh well. Okay, I googled it. PCI was lost too, and they seem to be specifically referring to if you resign from a job and your employer gives you a counter offer of staying on, usually for more money/revised conditions. No idea why they needed to phrase it in such annoyingly vague language, but I don't think they're referring to negotiating in general. If a door is closed, even if it isn't latched, assume that whoever is on the other side is doing something they want privacy for. Knock. Hey, it's me. I just want to grab. Specifically named item/I just want to do. Specific thing. Because even in married life, sometimes walking in on an unlatched door means you witness something your spouse might prefer you didn't, even if that thing is just shopping for a birthday gift. Talk to anyone in customer service as if they are a human. Respect, understanding and with emotions. Yesterday my bank account was not allowing me to access my own money because of a technical mix-up from a policy that was implemented over 10 years ago that had nothing to do with me. I was at the store getting basic groceries and only at checkout did I find out there was an issue. The lady behind the counter who was serving me pulled her wallet out and paid for it. I've been seeing her at checkout asking how she has been and what's her day been like she was a friend. 'Cause just venting to a good customer who understands you helps a lot. You bet I'm getting her a gift. The better answer is always I don't know, never ever bullshit. Treats everyone with the same base level respect you expect to be treated with. Everyone, even shitty people. This is a reflection of your own self-worth. Don't judge how you feel on the inside with how some behaves on the outside, especially when things seem great. You don't know their inner struggle, and others might see you and your achievements as if you're doing great, even though internally you feel like shit. Always find a way to replace I'm sorry with thank you. For instance, if I have to ask a company for something, I won't say I'm sorry for troubling you, but instead I would say thank you for your patience. When someone gets back to me about a job application, I always say thank you for getting back to me. It sort of removes the guilt and makes it optimistic. You're sort of replacing a burden with the virtue, compliment. I say please a lot when it comes to requests. Could I please have a cup of coffee? Could you please look into this information? I would really appreciate it if I could please have this item in a different size. While showering, you go shampoo first, wash it off, conditioner, wash it off, face wash and then body wash, soap, Wash it off. Basically you start with the head and clean your whole body in order from top to bottom. I remember one of my friends telling me this in boarding school so many years ago, and I've stuck with it to this day.